Coming up on this week's show, American Express is all over the place. Offers, insiders look to London. Are they the new beast in location commerce? Plus, the Facebook IPO and what it means to location. The Pinterest raises an insane amount of money at an insane valuation. Our special guest, Tomi Aho, on his augmented reality prediction. Plus, our resource of the week from Pew Research. All this, man, and oh so much more. Coming up right freaking now. Asif, welcome to episode number 78 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. My name, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv. Of course, that place you come to find out everything you need to know about the mobile and location industry. With me as always, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Right here, Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association. Always glad to be here talking about the latest and greatest in location-based changes in the world, and there's lots to cover again. So
there's a ton to cover today. Being we're doing this a little early this week. Today being Facebook IPO day. We're not going to focus on that exclusively. We're going to talk about what it might mean for the industry itself. We've got a whole bunch of stuff, but before we get into this, I know, Asif, you have just landed and are about to take off. I think that you come home, pack a new bag, head out back on the road. What's going on with the Location-Based Marketing Association this coming week? Because you're at it again.
Yeah, well, I'm out in Europe this week, heading over to Amsterdam for the European Location Business Summit, which is the Where Businesses event. 2 days of pure location discussion from GIS and mapping and cellular issues to location advertising and couponing, and we got specifically I'm involved with a great panel with Starbucks and Heineken and Microsoft, and we're all going to be talking about what's happening around the European local advertising space and how that's manifesting. So should be great. And then I head over to Oslo for the Hotel Industry Association is holding an event there where I'm privileged to address that crowd as well. So it's going to be a busy week. And then we also, shortly following that, June 7th, want to make a quick mention. The LBMA, we're launching a chapter in Montreal in partnership with one of our newest members, Get Me Listed. And so exciting things there. So if you're in Montreal, come out June 7th. It's all on the LBMA site, as are the other events I mentioned. So check them out.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you maintain that kind of a schedule. It's insane what you do. You're always on the road, but you are you're a preacher for the location-based marketing world. So I think that the industry should have fixed you with some kind of medal, some kind of travel, some kind of something. How about a vacation, Asif?
Yeah. A vacation, right? Yeah.
And I'm not talking about vacation to a place where you actually get to go and speak, like actually enjoying yourself while you're there, but.
I know.
Check out thelbma.com for all those events and much more. Support these events if you're in Montreal, if you're in Toronto, if you're in Amsterdam, wherever there is a chapter, support them. None yet in Ottawa, but we'll get there.
Well, we're in Montreal now, so we're
inching closer. Well,
yes.
I need to I have the need to talk about Untether Talks because we're getting so much momentum. If you don't mind me spending a minute on this, Asif, is that. This is the Untether conference. It is, if you think about anything, it's like the TED Talks for the mobile industry. What we're focusing really about is what this means, what the impact of certain areas of that are being impacted mobile, what mobile is going to do to them in the world, how we use these technologies, how we shop, how we buy. And one of the ones that I wanted to really draw attention to was with Amber Mack. She's speaking. I don't know if you know Amber MacArthur. I'm sure you do, Asif.
Yeah.
She is an active social speaker. She speaks about social marketing. She speaks about a whole bunch of things. She wrote a book. It's called Power Friending. I have it somewhere here. But what she's talking about for us is I really like this. This is really about the impact that mobile is having on your brand. So the brand of you, remember back in the day, there was everything we talked about the brand of you, but here it is, the brand of you 2.0 and mobile's impact and the story that you're telling throughout the entire time you're using mobile. So when you post Instagram, when you post to Facebook, when you use Path, when you use all these location check-in software like Foursquare and etc., what that means and what that story tells you. And I think this is one of those things. This is forward-thinking knowledge, and it's being brought to you on Tether Talks. So go to tethertalks.com, and please, I'd love for you guys to be there. The LBMA has a special discount, so sign up for the email newsletter, and you'll get it in there. But please, I'd love to see it. It's June 26th, 27th in Toronto at the Glenn Gould Studio. You guys know that by now. I've been pushing it for quite some time. But if you do want to go, there is a discount code available. Big discount code available from the LBMA's website. Correct?
There is. Absolutely. And everybody should be there. If you're in Toronto or can get to Toronto on those days, I highly recommend this conference. It's you put together a fantastic agenda, Rob. So it's it's going to be exciting. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Boy, is it it's not easy to do. Somebody should have told me that. I probably wouldn't have gotten into it. So, all right. Well, listen, but I'm very excited. This is a conference that I would go to, which is what what we want to build. So we've got some great announcements coming up in the next week or so, and of course, Asif himself will be there, leading the way, talking about the impact that mobile is going to have on marketing going into the future. It's going to be cool. I can't wait. What do you say we jump into this, Asif?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thank you for your patience, everybody. We got a number of stories. None bigger, I think, today anyways, and we'll see how this progresses. Does this signify the beginning of the bubble, the Facebook IPO? And what does that mean? I'm gonna try to see if there's any kind of updates on the stock price right now, because no, we know that this was a stock that was that has actually, the opening price was bumped up to $38. They're raising $15 billion. Their valuation is up over $102 or $103 billion. It means the Instagram purchase was $1.2 billion, not $1 billion. It's still insane. Nice little kick there. But who cares? Because I'm not getting any stock. I'm not getting rich. I'm not moving to Singapore. What does this mean for the location-based marketing world? What does this mean for the marketing world that Facebook's IPOing, and they have $15 billion in cash? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it basically means that, they're going to have a massive war chest to continue to do what they've been doing for the last few months, which is going out and acquiring companies. So, Instagram, Gowalla, we keep hearing about more and more acquisitions. And just this week, I heard about another small one. They acquired a company called Lightbox, which is yet another photo sharing Android app, actually, out of London. So there were no numbers on that, but I mean, this is just Facebook getting to that point where they need to generate cash. They don't have an effective mobile strategy, and they know they got to be there. Yesterday at the Canadian Marketing Association Summit, where I was as well, Jordan Banks, who heads up Facebook in Canada, was one of the speakers, and I was listening to him talk about they understand that mobile is the future of Facebook. They understand that they're now at that point where more people are accessing Facebook from a mobile device than from a desktop. They've crossed that 50% watermark is long gone, and so they have to understand. They have to invest in mobile, and they're gonna take some of that $15 billion, and they're gonna continue to buy companies, technology, acquire intellectual assets, people assets that can smart mobile people that can move them there. I mean, that's
so basically what it does is it gives them a war chest to go and roll out their mobile strategy one way or another, build, buy, whatever it is that they're going to do, because they're buying all these little companies, and so at some point they got to put these pieces together. But the glue being $15 billion in cash, that's a solvent company. Man, oh man, oh man. Would you have bought if you had a chance?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't think so.
I'm not a big stock guy generally, but for me, this is one of those ones where I think that stock will, by this time next week, will be down around $30, and I think that's, it's going to be a solid stock. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, this is going to perform. It's like an Apple. Nowhere near the kinds of levels of where Apple is, but from a stock perspective, but it's going to be a solid performer. This is not the Groupon implosion.
Had to bring up Groupon, didn't you? but it's true. The what we've heard about leading up to this IPO is very much that there's a lot of money or stock been taken off the table as a result of this. So a lot of people cashing out early, and there are a lot of people that stand to become very wealthy as a result of this. And I think that that's really what we're looking at here is there's about to be an injection of some serious capital into the startup community. And I think that most of that, if not all, will be focused in the mobile space and will be focused in helping the ecosystem around Facebook. So this all of a sudden becomes a very healthy ecosystem, which is pretty cool.
They need to ramp up the strategy. I mean,
they need a strategy.
The other big came out this week around Facebook, which I'm sure you saw, is General Motors, which is the third largest advertiser in North America, period, in terms of ad spend, pulled their Facebook paid ads completely, which is $10 million. It's what they spend every year on paid Facebook advertising. And they basically said, no, we're not doing it anymore. We're not seeing the returns that we think justify that kind of spend. And I think other companies are going to follow suit. When GM, can pull 10 million in ad spend from Facebook, that's a signal that there's some problems with their revenue model.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, and this is not location based, but there's a lot of talk about their stores not working and people pulling back on the commerce side of Facebook. And GM kind of woke up and realized that they're putting a lot of effort into their Facebook page itself, and they can drive activity through that Facebook page as opposed to actually paying for it. So there is that. Facebook was never meant and never started as a commerce platform, as a revenue generating platform. That. The struggles are now that they've given away the farm and now they have to try to figure out how to turn this on to revenue. There's been some dumb ideas. I recommend dumb revenue ideas. I recommend you go and listen to the past week of the Social Hour over on twit.tv with Amber Mack, simply because they talk about some of the silly things that Facebook is doing to try to turn your stream into revenue aside from the advertising side. So it's worth it. The Social Hour over on the Twit network with Sarah Lane and Amber Mack. So that's it. I agree. They're going to spend a whole lot of money. They're getting a whole lot of money. They're going to spend a whole lot of money. They've got I think that this is the gold rush, the buy to dominate mobile. And Facebook, for me, is somebody that can actually do this because now they have the coffers to do this. Facebook and Apple, right? All right, so we will stop with that. No more, and I'm not getting any updated feeds on the IPO or the stock price right now because it's about 30 minutes into trading. So I'll keep looking at it as we go through the show. You will know about it, of course, before you've watched this, so you'll be well in the know. Second story here. Let's talk about Cred. This is Cred with a K, Kred, People Browser. This is the Cred service, and they've released an API. What is this? What does this do? This is just like Clout, right? This is what we're seeing here. Your social influence scores.
Yeah, it's a little different than Clout. There's a lot more data behind this, from what I can tell, than Clout. These guys have pull a lot of sentiment data, keyword analysis data. Clout is centered primarily on Twitter, and there are a few other plugins to it, but this is a data play. This is all about marketers trying to find influential people, based on mining, thousands and hundreds of thousands of pieces of social media data that's out there on us. And in particular, what I brought it up because part of this API gives you access to location-based data that's coming from any keyword in terms of whatever comments people are making on Twitter or LinkedIn or Foursquare or whatever. They're sucking that data out. So anytime, it's not just where people are posting from. They're actually pulling, if you mention Amsterdam in your comments, they'll flag that as a keyword and basically be able to include it in how they're analyzing data. So there's a lot of power in the data mining aspect of what's available through this new API.
And this is not a free API, right?
It is not a free API. They have an actual business
right. They're charging like a penny a call or something like that, or 0.01, 1/10 of a penny per call to the API. That makes me excited. They're thinking about this. Do you subscribe to these things? Like, as a user, do you use Clout? Would you use Credit for your business?
Yeah, I think I would. I do use Clout. I think I think there's a lot of value to services like that in terms of just helping find people that can shape the right conversation, right? From a marketer or brand marketer perspective, if you're launching a new product and you want to understand, how can I, find the right people that can help influence the public that I want, the demographic that I want. I think some of these services can add a lot of value around that. Another one that I'm involved in personally is one called Tracker, TRAACKR, and a little bit different kind of a service. This is more sort of a business angle around it, where they basically have curated topics and identified certain people who are influential in those topics, and then sort of suck the influential circle around those people into the topic. And then if you're tracking mobile, you're tracking location, or you're tracking shoes, whatever it is, you can go to this thing, and they've got these like sort of curated discussions going on that are sort of led by key influencers. So it's a different approach to it, but I think equally effective.
Yeah, I like that. I like that approach. Only because I've been featured in a couple of those as an influencer, and I like it's a stroke of the ego.
There you
So
go.
if you're interested in Cred, if you're a developer, you're interested in go to Cred, KRED.com. If you're interested, I just pulled it up, Tracker, TRAACKR.com. Go and take a look at those two sites. Very cool.
Yeah.
Third story, in fact. This is interesting. Not new, but we're seeing the pervasive nature of mobile commerce and the ability to capture an audience that is itself captured, sitting still. So Selective Media, they've launched this nationwide location-based Wi-Fi offers. This doesn't strike me as new, but we're just showing the extent of the reach. This is from the UK.
Yeah, this is a company I actually know quite well. Last time I was over there, I met with Chris Bull, who's one of the founders of the company, and these guys are guys who completely get Wi-Fi and sort of selling ad space in Wi-Fi networks. So they've been working with British Telecom for a long time now, sort of the Jaiwire model of the UK. Let's call it that. Okay, this is an interesting deal that they've done here. So they basically announced this new, what they're calling Free Street Wi-Fi network in London. They've gone and they've taken 1,800 of those classic red payphone booths that you see on the streets of London, 1,800 of these, and they're turning the payphone booth into a Wi-Fi hotspot. And then anybody who walks by, one of those with their, and if you provided your mobile phone number, it basically will push a mobile coupon or voucher down to your device for a store that's in close proximity to where you are right now. So it's a location-based deal triggered through a Wi-Fi hotspot. By intersecting with a Wi-Fi hotspot. Really cool, really interesting.
Yeah, this is a cool thing, and we've often, in North America we have ugly payphones, but in the UK they have these beautiful red booths, and it's a shame to see those go to waste, but certainly they're being used effectively now, and so it's all proximity based, right? So they're sending local deals around that. It makes sense. Pretty soon we're going to be blanketed by Wi-Fi. The growth in Wi-Fi has been unmatched in anything, simply because ubiquitous connectivity, no worry about connectivity costs, right? So you're not eating into your own data, you're eating into somebody else's data, and I know that in Ottawa the city is pretty much blanketed in Wi-Fi. It makes it a lot easier to get everybody engaged on these devices, and certainly for one of those reasons is commerce. Like we saw this happening in airports, and then it's expanded out. And you've been right in the middle of this, Asif, since day one.
Well, that's my heritage, right? That's where I come from. We're sort of building Wi-Fi network companies with selling ad space on them. So yeah.
So right in your sweet spot. Well, that's cool. So Selective Media, they're at selectivemedia.com. I believe, selectivemedia.com. Go and take a look at them. And this is something that's very cool. And if you use the service, and if you're in London, reach out on tether@gmail.com or Asif@thelbma.com. Yeah, just do the .com, but pretty sure you guys know that by now. Our fourth story. Okay, so Street Hawk, this company does location-based mobile personal shopping service. What is going on here? This is a complicated statement, I think, because it involves a whole bunch of AI. But Street Hawk in Australia, Asif.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. First of all, I love that to see innovation coming from all parts of the world in this space. So we don't talk a lot about Australia on the show, but this is a great new service, Street Hawk. It's a location-based mobile. They call it a personal shopping service. And there's two things I want to sort of quickly mention about this. So the first is that it's a typical location-based mobile shopping thing. So you basically get alerts, based on where you are for searches that you've saved. So you basically self-identified. Again, you've opted in, self-identified. I'm interested in camping equipment or whatever it is. If there's an alert for something, based on your location around that gets sent to you. And you can tag places that you frequently shop and get special offers and all the typical sort of stuff. What's interesting about this, though, is that it's not just GPS and cell tower triangulation stuff in terms of that's what they're using for the location. The secret sauce that I see here is they're using cloud computing to make it happen, and so they've signed this deal with a group called Ninefold. And they've developed this thing called Right Place, Right Time, Right Person platform, the 3R platform. And what that is the idea is that they're collecting so much data. Location-based services generate an inordinate amount of data. Like there's just so much data that's constantly having to be stored somewhere and having to be sort of mapped and organized, for lack of a better term, and so the cloud makes sense for that because it has to be delivered in real time, down to these devices, and so they're working with these guys called Ninefold to actually make that happen, and that's really how they're able to, sort of not just try and get your position, but to really target and segment and push stuff in real time, super fast to wherever you are, which is a slightly different approach. I mean, I know there's guys like we've talked in the past about Simple Geo and Factual and all these other guys on the data side, but to actually have that directly correlated in this way to the app, I think is interesting. I don't know what you think about it.
Well, I think that what we're talking about here is removing friction from this whole piece, and we all believe in the data. The data is killer when it comes to. It's a killer feature of all these services, as you said. We get so much of it, and the analytics that come from that are the things that we only dreamed of as retailers. I'm not one, but you can imagine is that listen, the only example I think about so often when it comes to this is that look. Street vendors on New York City, on the streets of New York City, mm-hmm. in the tourist areas around 42nd and Times Square. What these guys do is that they have these purses and they have everything laid out, and it's like this beautiful setup, and it's a sunny day. And then what happens when the first drop of rain? You turn around, and it's like now they're selling all umbrellas and rain jackets and rain boots. And it's like overnight. Oh, I mean, not overnight. Like a blink of an eye, they've changed their business. And I think that.
Yeah, they're able to switch just in real time based on what's the environment, what's happening.
And that's exactly what we're talking about with the depth and the reach of the analytics that you have from location-based marketing services like this. Is that you can tailor almost immediately the appropriate product at the right time at the right place. And I think that's doing that is going to be killer. And I think that's one of those things that I can't wait to see. And I think that we are going to start to see that.
They included a little bit of sort of backup for that. So they basically said when the app launched, they needed to support terabytes of data of real-time retail inventory from 50 retailers and 300 plus shop locations. So like there's just so much data there. and as you bring more retailers onto a platform and you have, more users on this platform, I mean, just think about, how much data that is and the storage of that data, and being able to, organize and access that. It's, it can only happen in the cloud. Like, there's no way you could build, server farms on your own every time you go and launch a new app service.
No, it's really democratized this kind of data. The cloud is incredible because it's a communal source that you eventually you're going to have to pay into. But I think about this so big is that the big trend that we see here, and we're going to be talking about it. This is the kind of conversation we're going to be having it on Tether Talks. Is it's quite literally. The retail industry is going through such an upheaval, and we know that. But this is a perfect example, is that you don't even need a physical location anymore. You don't need a pop-up store. You don't need any of this stuff. What you do need is a seamless way to reach out to a customer at the right time, at the right place. That's the tricky part here, obviously, but you don't need storefront. That's what it means. Every instance, every step that I take, whether I'm walking, whether I'm driving, whether I'm on a train or a bus or plane, anywhere, the top of a mountain, it is a commerce opportunity, and retailers have got to get their heads around that. And that's why I like what we're seeing here with these guys, because they understand that, your buying decision. That's why they put things at the front of the store, right? When, it is an impulse buy. When you walk up to a store and you're waiting in cash and you see all the candies and all the pop and everything like that, and the batteries and the lip gloss and that kind of stuff, it's an impulse buy. Now what they're doing is basically creating the entire planet as an impulse buy. You have to understand that when you're in the mood to buy, facilitate that transaction. And that's why I like these guys. Mm-hmm. Streethawk.com.au. And they're available in the App Store. Obviously, I think that you have to be in Australia. And I'm willing to go down there and try it out. Streethawk.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's talk about American Express and their new app and what they're doing.
My goodness.
With Facebook and what is that?
Yes. Let's talk about this. Facebook, Amex, Insiders of London. This is the Amex show. The rest of these stories are all around Amex. Start with Amex offers there. Asif?
Yeah. So Amex basically launched a new version of their iPhone app this week, and it's all centered on sort of them having their own local offer, local deal platform. And it's called My Offers, and I like it because basically what they're doing is they're going to all the merchants that they've always worked with. Everybody who basically accepts Amex for purchases in store. And saying, we can work with you, and we can deliver local offers, and we can give you a lot more data than you can get anywhere else because we have all the purchase history information. We know what consumers are spending on what, and we can use that to help sort of make those offers more relevant. And I think this is a sort of a no-brainer. It makes sense for Amex to be in this space, and they're doing their own offers. So they've built a team around this that's going and selling this, to the merchants and setting up local offers, very similar to the Groupon model in that respect. But then at the same time, they're also supplementing it with offers from Facebook, Foursquare, and Twitter, and some of their other partnerships that they already have. So I like this, but I think this is a serious threat for Groupon. Honestly, Groupon has been trying like crazy with Groupon now to get those same merchants on board. They're not having much success, from everything I can tell. Now here comes Amex, who's already got relationships with all those merchants, saying, we're in this business and we can do it better.
You know how I feel about Groupon, and I think that this is a natural spot for Amex to be. Amex is in our fifth story is about Amex insiders look at London, but Amex seems to be the one company, the scrappy company that's doing everything. That they're doing real time couponing. They're doing Twitter partnerships. This is a company that gets it. This is a company that understood back in the day that having a cap on your credit card spending was something that limited the ability for people to spend. How do these guys make money? Interest. At least they did, right? So now it's about retaining their clients. These guys are at the forefront of this kind of stuff, and it doesn't surprise me that they're doing this. And quite frankly, the friction, Right, so they're launching this website. I think it launched this week, right? Where you go
Yeah.
on and you get it. You can now see all your Amex deals in one spot, and I think that this is it just these guys get it, and you
No, no, they totally get it. I dug into it a little bit more, and so there's 3 million people that have the Amex app already. And that number is going to grow. You got to think once they start pushing out deals, in this way, you know, there's not 3 million people that have the Groupon now app. I can tell you that. I don't know what the number is, but it's nowhere near that. So, there's a lot of challenges I think that this throws at Groupon. I think Groupon is struggling to the point where, just to quickly sidebar, Groupon made an announcement this week as well, where just to illustrate how ineffective their mobile strategy has been, Groupon is now advertising in Pandora. Okay, Groupon is running mobile ads in Pandora to drive traffic to their platform. You gotta
what does
like
that say? What does that say about about Groupon?
Yeah.
They turned a profitable quarter. I got to hand it to them.
Yeah.
But I think that what we look at is this has become a commodity. This couponing. I keep coming back. People are going to wake up and realize that,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's just a coupon company. But the piece is that it fits as a service of a credit card company like Amex.
Totally.
It's not an independent company, because the other guys, when Visa does this and MasterCard
Or
does
a
this,
carrier. Yeah. Or a carrier.
where
Yeah.
it's seamless.
But Amex totally gets it, and if we want to use that to segue over to the next little story,
Might as well.
Amex isn't just sitting on their laurels with offers around this. I mean, Amex is getting behind what's going on in London, trying to take advantage of the Olympics that are about to happen, and so they launched this thing called the Amex Insider's Look at London, and this is again a mobile app that is deals, it's reviews, it's events, and it's only for card holders.
I think that's a key thing, right? That it's only for
That's a key thing. It's just it's worth being an Amex card holder, right? They're increasing the value here, and they're basically saying, look, if you've got this app, you get exclusive discounts to restaurants and bars and hotspots that are and events that are happening during the time of the Olympics, and it's product reviews, it's tourist information. It's sort of like just trying to be this sort of all-around guide to your visit to London, and let's help monetize that at the same time by pushing the offers inside of it as well. It makes sense. I mean, this is a good play for a credit card company.
It's a great play for that exact reason. You know what? When we talk about mobile strategy, we talk about commerce strategy and location strategy and marketing strategy, and you throw those all into the mix. It enhances the value of their terrestrial product, their credit card company. So if you are a credit card holder, an Amex credit card holder, you get exclusivity. They did this with concerts. They were the first company, I think, to actually offer insurance on purchases. If you're a credit card holder, they start looking at ways to add value to their existing customers to keep them in. And I love this. I love the fact that membership has its privileges. We're back to that. And because their bottom line is exactly as I said before, Amex makes money on what? The brunt of their money is made on interest rates. Their brunt of their money is made right there. So they have to drive users and card holders. And this is just that value add to keep them as using that credit card. And I think that we're going to see much more of this kind of thing. Exclusive offers for card holders. And I love that.
Yeah, you can see a lot more location-based, sort of presence-based, content and offers around this, like this London thing, that's obviously geared to, the period during the Olympics. But I think you're going to see, credit card companies that are getting behind sponsorship and tying it to events. This is a great event marketing tool. I expect a lot more of this kind of thing.
Well, go Amex. So there you go. The Amex show. Boom. Facebook Amex show. That's it. Yeah. Those are the news items. We threw the Facebook one in the beginning, obviously for timely matters. But what do you think? Did we hit them all? We covered. I think we went to Australia, UK, United States. I think we're missing out in Canada, but I think we hit one Canadian company. What do you think? Did we hit those stories right? Reach out, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. Let us know what you think of those stories or if we missed any. If you have one for next week, reach out. We are always open to breaking stories. So if you want us to feature it, let us know. Let's talk about this segment. I had the great opportunity to sit down with one of my mobile heroes. Asif, you know Tomi, don't you?
Yeah, you know Tomi quite well.
I met him at Mobile Innovation Week a couple of years ago in Toronto and have stayed in touch with this guy since then. I had no idea how energetic he was in real life until I sat down with him two years ago and interviewed him for Untether.tv. He blew me away. It was like, the wind tunnel. At the end of it, my hair was flowing back. His insights are insane. He's been known as the proponent for SMS. He's the biggest cheerleader for SMS. He does the SMS dance. He believes that it is a technology that hasn't even seen its day yet. He is now on to augmented reality. He believes that the 8th mass media will be augmented reality. And I had a really, really, really great chat with him. I had a chance to sit down with him about a week ago and sat down with him. And this is a yet to be displayed or yet to be broadcast interview, but a piece of it where Tomi does talk about why he thinks augmented reality is going to be the 8th mass media and some specific examples from the Far East. He lives in Hong Kong. So here, Tomi Aho. And if you've never heard of this guy, shame. Follow him up at Tomi Aho. But until then, enjoy this segment. All right, now what about the thing that gets you so excited, Tomi? We talked about this at the very beginning. This is the 8th mass medium. It's kind of elevating form factor out of the away from the glass, away from buttons, and away from things that I think inhibit or hinder. I always think about this is that the last thing that I ever wanted to do was hold up my PDA to my phone, my cheek, and use it as a phone. And the last thing that I ever wanted to do was use my phone as a PDA. And but somehow what we ended up with was this mashup of these two devices that are maybe seemingly are a natural fit, but really are not a natural fit when it comes to a form factor. And now you're talking about this 8th mass medium, which is augmented reality. Tell us about this. Why? What was it? What changed for you? Was it Google Glasses, or what was it that really pushed you over the line?
Very good. First, I have to give credit for the concept itself. So when I wrote the book about the 7th mass media, those of your viewers who don't know, I chronicle the order of the mass media. Print was first 500 years ago. Then we get recordings, we get cinema, radio, television, internet, and mobile. So that's the 7 mass media. And the key point here was why I developed this methodology was to try to argue that mobile is as different from the internet as television is different from radio. While both were broadcast media, both had similar content, they had significant differences. And we can understand that immediately. You're a very glamorous looking person. You're good for television. You're an ugly guy like Tomi, put him on radio. We don't want to see him on TV. So, television, radio, different kind of needs. We need, different kind of, lighting issues, all kind of things like that, which we don't need on radio and so forth. So I was using that methodology to explain the difference. And almost immediately after the book came out, everyone was asking me, Tomi, what's the 8th mass media? What's the 8th mass media? So Raimo van der Klein, the CEO of LiAR, the augmented reality company from the Netherlands, he argued on my blog and said, Tomi, actually, I think augmented reality will be the 8th mass media. And at the time when he argued it, the only uses I had ever seen of augmented reality were military goggles, fighter pilots, and so forth, which is not a mass media, and then the smartphone. So smartphone augmented reality apps. And I was thinking that at this moment, augmented reality is only a media format for mobile phones. But I don't accept yet, it doesn't seem to me as being a separate mass medium like print would be, like cinema would be, like radio would be. So with its own format families. But that changed last 2 years. I started to see augmented reality used in other places. The first one was we started to see augmented reality in the sound space. So now we had, for example, the rap artist Sida, I'm sorry, yes. T-Dog, Tommy the rap artist, forgets his rivals' names. Sida, the Japanese rap artist, released his album as a sound adventure of Japan. You could go to different parts of Japan. There would be location-based stories of why that location was relevant to Sida, the rap artist. Here's where he met his wife. Here is where he had his accident with his motorcycle, whatever else. And he tells these stories. At the background, in that location, you can hear one track from the new album, the specific song that fits that mood, and so forth. So this was the way to promote the album. Sida fans would have a great adventure around Japan, looking for the songs and looking for the places and listening to the songs. And of course, when the album was released, it debuted at #1 on the Japanese charts. So clever way, but this kind of opened my eyes more that while, yes, we were still using a mobile phone to deliver the sound experience, it was no longer that visual experience. We now had another way. And theoretically, it could be used yet other ways. Then I started to see the tablets. People were starting to use tablets also for augmented reality. And this further improved my understanding that perhaps there is a wider reach. But now, totally sold when I saw the Google Goggle, promotions and videos starting to come out, that this is close on the horizon. They will soon be in our shops. We remember a little while ago, everyone was walking around with those Bluetooth earpieces that now are a little bit too kind of geeky, and people are not using them as much. But for a while, they were very popular. I think we will soon start to see those Google type of goggles and glasses. And that, to me, brings so much more of the augmented reality experience beyond just the smartphone that I'm willing to accept. It is not only a format for mobile, it is actually a completely new medium, mass medium. It's not yet a commercially viable mass medium. It's still quite a niche medium, but it is very exciting. We have in America the launch of the Avengers movie. Avengers did an augmented reality game. You could go and pick augmented reality characters from the Avengers movie, and you could place yourself in, you play with them and place yourself in a picture with them and so forth. Walmart, the store, did a cross promotion where for you to take the free Avengers characters onto your phone, you had to go inside a Walmart store to capture them. And there'd be different places you could pick the different characters inside a Walmart store. So in this way, Walmart was able to drive footfall, visitors to their stores based on their promotion of the Avengers movie using augmented reality. Meanwhile, Universal was celebrating their 100-year anniversary in London, Universal Movies in London by releasing dinosaurs into the all the shopping streets of London, Oxford Street and so forth. So kids would notice, they would borrow their parents' phones and they would look for the dinosaurs, T-Rexes running around and being vicious all through London. So the kind of things that are starting to happen with the different media brands learning about augmented reality, and the different media and the different technology brands experimenting in this place, we are starting to see it spread. It's a little bit like where QR codes were 2 or 3 years ago. Now we're starting to see them everywhere. So I think that within perhaps 2 years, it will start to establish itself as a mass market medium. And now for me, this is a very exciting space. This is like looking at SMS early on, 15 years ago, looking at ringtones, 10 years ago, and so forth, that what all can we invent in this space.
Wow, that was Tomi Ahonen. You know Tomi Ahonen. Just such deep insight. Do a search on Tether.tv for a couple of the other interviews and segments that we've done with Tomi. I got his blog up here, Communities Dominate Brands. I don't know where the guy gets the time to write. He's written like 12 books on mobile, and he writes 3,000-word blog posts on his blog. It's if you want to stay up to date about what's going on from a global perspective, you got to follow Tomi Ahonen at Tomi Ahonen. Love the guy. Love the guy. And I really appreciate him coming on and offering up his insights. Augmented reality. Okay, funding, M&A. 2 fundings this week. We're not even going to talk about the Facebook IPO. I'm still trying to find out what the price is right now. 2 fundings this week. The first one I alluded to in the introduction. Pinterest raising $100 million with a valuation of $1 billion. Sif? Should we just start giggling now?
Yeah, Yeah, and the valuation, like 1.5
Yeah.
billion. Yeah, I don't know. And so this is money coming from Rakuten, which is a Japanese e-commerce company. These are the guys I think who bought or invested in. Is it the
Yeah,
Kobo?
they bought the Kobo. They bought
Yeah,
the Kobo
Kobo
from
computer.
Indigo, and that consortium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, interesting. I'm still trying to figure out if there's any connections between what they're doing as an e-commerce business and where Pinterest is, or if this is just a pure investment play. But valuations are ridiculous for these companies right now. I mean, how long has Pinterest been on the market? Like Instagram, $1 billion acquisition. This. I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just getting crazy, and good for Andreessen Horowitz yet again. And some of these guys. But this is some crazy stuff. This is some crazy stuff. I don't get it. I mean, I don't use Pinterest myself. I don't know if you do, Rob. I mean, I know some brands that are starting to embrace it. I think for certain brands, I see some value. But I don't know. Personally, I'm of the feeling that Pinterest is a flash in the pan. But
yeah. You know what they're saying? There's an article here on this maybe from April on VentureBeat that talks about Pinterest driving more revenue per click than Twitter or Facebook, which is I think that as a revenue generator, I think that it is actually doing some great things. I know that guys like Vaynerchuk
sure.
are right in there. But it is driving revenue right now. But you're right. It's a. I saw an interview yesterday. Actually, this is the third time I've mentioned Amber MacArthur, but she was talking about Pinterest driving. The demographics are slightly skewed, like 80% female using Pinterest.
Yes.
And I've tried. I've looked at it and I played around with it. I think that as it evolves, it might become a commerce platform. But I don't know what their revenue model is. I don't understand how. I mean, I understand the way that they add value by allowing you to pin objects and distribute that to obviously the millions of users of this. And I understand that when you sign up, it goes out to your social graph and tells everybody. It connects you automatically. So this is an inherent growth mechanism that is part of it. Even if I don't use it, I now have 78 friends that are now I'm connected to, so I get their stream.
Yes.
It's genius the way that they've done that. I think that the service is neat, but man, $1.5 billion valuation. Maybe this $100 million turns on the revenue. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you said it well. I mean, it's the demographics that I have the challenge with. It's it is 80% female. I was actually at a conference in Orlando this week with a bunch of different brands in the room, and one of the brands was talking about it, a restaurant chain. I won't say who it is, but they were saying that the demographic that they go after as a restaurant chain is, sort of the mommy crowd. That's sort of who they target. That's their primary target audience, and so for them, Pinterest makes sense because it's 80% female. But I think for a lot of broad-based brands, I think there's some challenges there, whether or not it's worth the investment.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you. I'm just pulling up this stat here to give it context. It's a chart that for Q2 2011, and it's maybe it's a little bit older, but this is actually from April of this year. That in Q2 2011, Pinterest represented 1.2% of social media revenue for e-commerce sites. It now represents 17.4%, and it's quickly gaining on Facebook. So it has passed Twitter. Almost it's at 17.4% of revenue generating. However, Facebook drives about 80% of revenue through the social means. So and Twitter is down to, I don't know, very, very, very low, as you can see on that chart. Unfortunately, I see if you can't see it, but when you start to think about that, maybe this is if Facebook is valued at 105 billion dollars, then maybe Pinterest is.
yeah.
Who knows?
Well, if that's the benchmark, right? Then yes, I guess so.
Who knows?
I still think it's ridiculous, but anyways.
Damn, Mark Andreessen. Come on, Mark. Come on to the show. All right. So the second thing is a company called Scout. Scout raises a measly $22 million. Talk about Scout.
So Scout it's a company we've talked about before. This is a location-based dating app or dating flirting app. Yeah, I mean, 22 million bucks. These guys are growing like crazy. I mean, apparently they're adding 40 to 50,000 new users a day. I mean, the numbers are just blew me away when I saw that. So there's a lot of players in this space. We've talked about several of them on the show over the last little while, but I think Scout's got they got some fuel in the tank now. I think there's some consolidation that's about to happen in this segment of the industry. I think there's so many apps around this part of the ecosystem. We've talked about Grindr in the past. We've talked about several others, and I think that we can definitely have some consolidation here because each of these sort of has their own sort of segment that they go after, right? And some of them, are complete one-to-one comparisons, but maybe they can use some of that money to go and actually acquire a couple of the smaller players and just sort of roll them up and they're already growing fast, but grow even faster.
Well, it's probably a good investment. These kind of sites never seem to amaze, or never seem to. They always seem to amaze me, just because this is the new norm. I've been married a long time, and I'm not out on the hunt. But I think that everybody. I remember when it was an anomaly to meet somebody who had met somebody online and actually carried on a relationship. Now many people are getting married, and Match.com is everywhere. So certainly the location layer is going to be huge for these guys. So Scout raises $22 million, so you can flirt. Not a bad thing. Those are the two funding things. Obviously, we'll add that to the third one, the Facebook IPO. This week, Pinterest, $100 million. On a $1.5 billion valuation, and Scout raising $22 million. Last but not least, Asif, we have our resource of the week. God, I don't know how Pew does it, but they do it, don't they? They just
they do. They keep putting this out. I love it. So this is the Pew Research Center Center for Internet and American Life Project.
Great name.
Great name. So this is not the first time they've done this study. This is, I think, at least the third time that I've seen this study happen. I think they probably do it every 6 months or so. I don't know what the frequency is, but they're reporting now that 18% of the U.S. smartphone population is now checking in and sharing location with their friends, and that's up from 12%, which was May of last year. So almost a year, I guess. Between these studies, a 6% increase in usage, and that's when you look at we've the U.S. has now crossed total smartphone ownership in the U.S. is now over the 50% mark, right? Which we talked about from the Nielsen study a little while ago. So I think this is a significant margin. I mean, when you can go 6%. In a year in total U.S. population, that's a big number. That's a big change. And if I remember correctly, the previous study prior to the May 2011 study, where it was 12%, I think they were at 8%. If I remember. So we're seeing this marked increase. I guess on a year-over-year basis, specifically with the Pew data. Some other data that I've seen out there says that we're more, 22, 23% from other studies. So, I mean, if we average it out, we could say about 20% or a fifth of the U.S. population now is checking in with regularity on the smartphone population.
I wonder how much of this is influenced by things like Pinterest, not Pinterest, oh my God, Instagram, right? Yes. And the other kind of passive check-in technologies, where you can tag your photos and people, you realize that you're checking in. That's what I would consider a check-in. And guys like, for Path, and the industry is starting to awaken to this because but I wonder, I'm seeing so many people now using Instagram. The awareness is just kind of obviously ballooned, and so you're seeing more and more people that you would never have thought that would be using Instagram. Since we've been using it over over a year now, a year and a half. But I wonder if that data fills into this, because that's a huge jump to go from 8 to 12, fine. 12 to 18 to 20%, that's a huge jump. And you can imagine that when you start to think about what goes on in the next year when these services come out, when Facebook really puts its attention to the mobile space, that number should accelerate even more.
Yeah, and so the full report, that entire study is will be available on the LBMA site later today. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We don't have anything left over for episode number 78. We have nothing. And I have no update on Facebook other than it opened up at $38, and so when you're watching this, you will know much more about how Facebook's stock accelerated or decelerated right after its IPO. But what a day! Does this herald the beginning of the end? Is this the launch that Netscape did for the internet world? Is that what we're witnessing here with the Facebook IPO? I think this is the second largest IPO in the history of IPOs. $15 billion. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy.
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, that is it for episode number 78. We will be back in some form for episode number 79. Asif will be joining us from somewhere over the pond in Europe. Where are you going to be when we do this?
I think I'll be in Oslo.
In Oslo. Well,
good old Norway.
We will. This is a truly international.
I'm going over. I mean, just complete sidebar joke here, but I don't know if our listeners will know, but there's been all kinds of discussion in the Canadian press about Norway's economy. And I can't remember who it was, but some politician in Norway basically floated this concept of Norway adopting the Canadian dollar as their new standard currency, and it was actually quite serious, like, so to the point where the Bank of Canada, had discussions with their bank and the government, and we're talking about it, and I think it's sort of died down now. But yeah, I'm going over to Norway to see if I can get that
sparked up again,
reignited. Yeah, spark
bring
it up
lots
again.
of Canadian dollars. Maybe that's the new mobile currency. Instead of the U.S., it's the Canadian dollar. Strong economy here. Well, safe travels. Can't wait to hear how things are shaping up over there. Bring your observations for next week's episode, and we'll be here for number 79 of this week.
Number 79.
This week in location. That's
wow.
Incredible. Until then, thank you guys for watching. Feedback is always appreciated. untethered@gmail.com or sif@thelbma.com. Check out thelbma.com for all the events. Go to Montreal if you're around. Come to Toronto for Untethered Talks. We will see you next week for the next episode of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. Thanks, everybody. Sif, enjoy.
Cheers.
See you.